Hey everyone, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. Well, the most pro-Israel administration in U.S. history has struck again, and it is a beautiful thing to see. President Trump has signed an executive order making the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act the law of the land. Now, our team at Christians United for Israel is very excited about this, folks. For well over 2 years, QAEDA has been on Capitol Hill lobbying members of Congress to vote for the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act to make it a reality. Now President Trump has just signed the executive order putting it into law. So we worked very hard for it at QAEDA. Our founder and chairman, the one and only Pastor John Hagee, was in the White House as President Trump signed this executive order. So a wonderful thing to see all that hard work from our team at QAEDA come to fruition. But an even better thing for the Jewish people. Here's what the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act does. It holds universities and colleges accountable where anti-Semitic, anti-Israel activity is prevalent on the ground, meaning violent anti-Semitic attacks against Jewish students, meaning incitement, vandalism, slander against Jewish students, threats against Jewish students, and that BDS movement, which is become so prevalent on college campuses. BDS, boycott, divest from, and sanction. The BDS movement is very strong on some American college campuses, and Jewish students many times don't feel safe on campus. That, folks, that is a situation which cannot stand. So President Trump stepped in and signed this executive order, made it the law of the land, and it couldn't come at a better time. The very week that President Trump signed it into law, just a few days before, we had another anti-Semitic attack in Jersey City, New Jersey this time, where a number of anti-Semitic assailants in a kosher market in Jersey City killed 3 civilians and a police officer. Folks, this is the latest in a growing string of anti-Semitic incidents right here in the U.S. Look, America has traditionally been a safe haven for the Jewish people and for supporters of Israel, either Jewish or Christian. But now we see the two most deadly, violent anti-Semitic incidents in U.S. history went down in the span of 1 year. Look, October 2018, the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting. Then in the summertime, we had a shooting outside of San Diego where Jews were murdered and specifically targeted by anti-Semitic assailants. Not only that, polls show that in virtually every U.S. state, incidents of anti-Semitism are growing. And hey, let's look across the pond, right? Let's look at Europe and the European Union nations where anti-Semitism isn't just growing. Folks, it is skyrocketing, even in places like Germany. There's a reason, by the way, that French Jews are leaving that country. Look, France has the largest Jewish population in Western Europe, yet French Jews are leaving in droves. Many of them are making aliyah. They're going up. They're returning to their ancestral homeland, the land of Israel, because they are being violently targeted time and time again in the streets of France. And in Great Britain, look no further than, as I speak here today on the Watchman Newscast, it is December 12th. We are awaiting the results of the election in the UK between Boris Johnson and Jeremy Corbyn of the UK Labour Party. Folks, this is an openly anti-Israel, anti-Semitic radical. It's not just me saying it. Members of his own Labour Party in the UK, and we talked about this on a previous Watchman Newscast, have actually left his party because of the insane level of anti-Semitic incitement. And this is one of Great Britain's major political parties. Look, we've had Labour prime ministers. Tony Blair was a member of the Labour Party. Now Jeremy Corbyn, a much different kind of character, heads up that party. And again, on next week's newscast on December 19th, we'll see what the results are, but we will have the result by then of the UK election. God willing, Jeremy Corbyn gets nowhere near that prime minister chair, folks, in 10 Downing Street, because he would fundamentally alter not only the UK-Israel relationship, but the UK-US relationship in a very, very negative way, to say the least. So what we have here, just to bring you up to speed, if you're just joining us, the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act. Big deal for President Trump to sign it into law, to sign that executive order. And again, very timely with a sharp increase of anti-Semitic incidents right here in the United States. By the way, including on Capitol Hill in the form of Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, two viciously anti-Israel congresswomen. We haven't had this in the past, folks. It shows you how the tide is turning in some troubling ways. We haven't had members of the U.S. Congress so openly and just brazenly anti-Israel as we have in the form of Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. But that's what we have. These are elected officials right now serving in the U.S. Congress. Both of them openly support that boycott, divest from, and sanction BDS movement against Israel. And folks, let's be very clear. The BDS movement, which seeks to cripple Israel economically and isolate Israel on the world stage, it has the same endgame as Hamas, Hezbollah, the Iranian regime, the destruction of Israel. BDS is just a very clever and a different sort of way to get to that end game. But make no mistake about it, the end game for BDS is the destruction of Israel without a doubt. So, important things happening as we close out the year here. The Trump administration, I said, strikes again in a wonderful way with the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act. We can go down the line, right? Moving the embassy to Jerusalem, recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, cutting funding to the Palestinian Authority over its support of terror, recognizing that Israel has a right to be in Judea and Samaria, the biblical heartland. So the list goes on and on. So we're closing out the year in what looks like a pretty positive way if you support Israel and the Jewish people. And by the way, with this sharp spike in anti-Semitism, folks, if you are a Christian, number one, the Bible says, the book of Isaiah, we are to comfort God's people, the people of Israel. But number two, don't think it's going to bypass you. There's an old saying in the world of radical Islam. This can apply even to the non-radical Islamists who are anti-Israel in the BDS movement in many ways. First, the Saturday people, the Jews, then the Sunday people, the Christians. The Jews have always been the canary in the coal mine. And if you're a Christian, you think you're kind of sitting pretty and you're safe and it's not going to affect you, all these vicious anti-Semitic attacks. Think again, because eventually it will come to your doorstep. Let's be bold. Let's speak out. Let's stand up for our Jewish brothers and sisters for such a time as this. We have a biblical mandate as Christians to do just that. So, thanks for joining us today on the Watchman Newscast. Hey, we give you your marching orders every week. Number one, subscribe to the Watchman Newscast. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Like what we are doing, give us a big thumbs up. And I said last week, I'll say it again, as I'm petting my dog who's at my feet right now in my living room. But I'll say it again. Tell your family members, your friends, your coworkers, hey, at the Christmas, the Hanukkah dinner table this season, to subscribe to the Watchman Newscast, to join CUFI, America's largest pro-Israel organization, CUFI.org. We're changing the game here. And the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, I don't think President Trump would have made that an executive order and signed that into law without the strong efforts of CUFI on Capitol Hill. Thirdly, check out our Watchman television show every Friday night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern on TBN, 12:30 a.m. Eastern on the Fox Business Network on Sunday nights. Gotta go. I gotta feed this little critter right here who's clawing at my legs. He's hungry. Hey, thank you for joining us this week. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. God bless you. Until next week, from the Watchman Newscast, never hold your peace. Take care.